Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakodash, Barakatam. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone who rule and teach well, and peace and salutations to Ya'akim out there pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the Brother Raya with another video, and I'll be reading from an article on endoftheamericandream.com titled, "The Pope and Islam's Most Important Imam Just Signed a Covenant That Pushes Us Much Closer to a One-World Religion." And the first thing that should come to mind is that Tower of Babel, which these Edomites, or so-called white people, are in the spirit of, trying to do what those Hamites did in the past. And best believe that these popes and these higher-up religious figures and these other religions are Freemasons or part of the Illuminati pushing for this one world order agenda. A historic interfaith covenant was signed in the Middle East on Monday, and the mainstream media in the United States has been almost entirely silent about it. Sheikh Ahmed al-Tayeb is considered to be the most important imam in Sunni Islam, and he arrived at the signing ceremony in Abu Dhabi with Pope Francis hand in hand in a symbol of interfaith brotherhood. And that's cut number one right there, because if these Roman Catholics were really about the Bible, they would know that you're not supposed to make a covenant with these other nations of people, which, I mean, these are all heathens we're dealing with anyway, so they don't count. But for you Israelites, which you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you're not supposed to be dabbling in these other doctrines out there. You're only supposed to be dealing with the truth, which are these scriptures, because this is your heritage. This is Exodus 23 and 32. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor with their gods, making no interfaith brotherhoods with these heathens. But this wasn't just a ceremony for Catholics and Muslims. According to a British news source, the signing of this covenant was done in front of a global audience of religious leaders from Christianity, Islam, Judaism, and other faiths. Also, as it says in Isaiah 34 and 16, "Seek ye out of the book of Yahweh and read, no one of these shall fail, none shall want her mate." You're not supposed to add any other books unto these scriptures, such as what those gutter rat Amalekites posing as the Jewish people do when they use the Talmud but say they're the true Jews, because the Talmud is a wicked book that has nothing to do with the Torah. "For my mouth it hath commanded, and his spirit it hath gathered them." The Pope and the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar have signed a historic declaration of fraternity calling for peace between nations, religions, and races in front of a global audience of religious leaders from Christianity, Islam, Judaism, and other faiths. Pope Francis, the leader of the world's Catholics, and Sheikh Ahmad al-Tayeb, the head of Sunni Islam's most prestigious seat of learning, arrived at the ceremony in Abu Dhabi hand in hand in a symbol of interfaith brotherhood, making a covenant. In other words, there was a concerted effort to make sure that all the religions of the world were represented at this gathering, trying to make a mate unto these scriptures. According to the official Vatican website, a tremendous amount of preparation went into the drafting of this document, and it encourages believers from all religions to shake hands, embrace one another, kiss one another, and even pray with one another. The document signed by Pope Francis and Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Ahmad al-Tayeb, was prepared with much reflection and prayer, the Pope said. "The one great danger of this moment," he continued, "is destruction, war, hatred between us. If we believers are not able to shake hands, embrace one another, kiss one another, and even pray, our faith will be defeated," he said. And it just goes to show that while these leaders know what's going on behind the scenes, the majority of you followers of these religions out there in the wrong mindset. You Christians say you're Christian, but you're trying to do everything you can to avert the end times from coming to pass. to try to make this system of America go on for as long as possible, which is just completely unscriptural. If you were a true follower or believer, you would want this Babylonian American system to come to its end as soon as possible, because with that being the case, Yahushua, whom you ignorantly call so-called Jesus, would make his second return, which is what all you Christians say you're looking forward to, but your actions speak otherwise. The Pope explained that the document is born of faith in the Most High, who is the Father of all and the Father of peace. This is Exodus 15:3. Yahweh is a man of war. Yahweh is his name. So the Most High of the Bible is not a power of peace. He's a man of war, as it just said. And he's not a power for all people. He's only a power for the nation of Israel, as it says in Deuteronomy 7:6. For thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy power. Yahweh thy power hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. All this Roman Catholicism and all these other Christian doctrines are just propaganda to push for that one world government, which, if you notice in all these Christian doctrines, they always talk about all nations of people and races and genders need to come together and be one people, which plays perfectly into that one world agenda, which is completely against the scriptures, because the Most High is a separatist only for his people, which is the nation of Israel, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. It condemns all destruction, all terrorism, from the first terrorism in history, that of Cain. So the Pope should be condemning his own people, you Edomites, or so-called white people, because Cain was Esau before he reincarnated as Esau. There's a lot of language about peace in this document, but it goes way beyond just advocating for peace. Over and over again, the word God is used to simultaneously identify Allah and the God of Christianity. Here's just one example. We who believe in God and in the final meeting with him and his judgment on the basis of our religious and moral responsibility, and through this document or this covenant being made among heathens, call upon ourselves, upon the leaders of the world, as well as the architects of international policy and world economy, to work strenuously to spread the culture of tolerance and of living together in peace, to intervene at the earliest opportunity to stop the shedding of innocent blood and bring an end to wars, conflicts, and environmental decay, and the moral and cultural decline that the world is presently experiencing, which it's supposed to be experiencing, because we're in the last seconds of the last days, because there's going to be the mandatory implementation of the mark of the beast, which is that microchip implant, which will bring about that battle of Armageddon in the Valley of Jehoshaphat, which is that Middle East region, which is further going to bring about the second coming of Yahushua to save his people, you Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as well as the confusion of face Israelites that'll look at these other nations, because you're above all these other nations of people upon the face of the earth. On top of that, the document also boldly declares that the diversity of religions that we see in the world was willed by the Most High. Freedom is a right of every person. Each individual enjoys the freedom of belief, thought, expression, and action. The pluralism and diversity of religions, color, sex, and race and language are willed by the Most High in his wisdom, through which he created human beings. This divine wisdom is the source from which the right to freedom of belief and the freedom to be different derives. Therefore, the fact that people are forced to adhere to certain religion or culture must be rejected, as to the imposition of a cultural way of life that others do not accept. And I can't say that I hate to break it to you, but when Yahushua returns and saves his elect and the Israelites are put back in power, you other heathen nations of people are going to be our slaves in the kingdom. And after that 1,000 years of hardcore bondage and slavery, you'll be able to go back to your lands, but you'll also have to follow the laws of the Israelites. It'll be a punishable offense to not follow the laws and try to hearken back unto your old ways of living. This is Revelation 2, verse 25 through 27, and this is Yahushua, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, speaking. but that which ye have already, hold fast till I come, and he that overcometh, the elect, the 144,000 and righteous 1/3 that endure until the end, and don't take that mark of the beast, and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. As the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. So point blank period, you other heathen nations are going to be slaves in the kingdom. But as I said, you other heathens are going to be able to go back to your lands after 1,000 years, but only you Edomites, or so-called white people, are going to be completely eradicated after that 1,000 years. And if you heathens don't hearken unto the ways of the Israelites, as it says in Zechariah 14, I'm going to start at verse 16, and it shall come to pass that every one that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, Yahweh of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. And it shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, Yahweh of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. So there will be punishments for you heathens not hearkening unto our ways or following our feasts. We're going to send plagues and pestilences upon you and just come to your lands ourselves and put you back in order if we find out that you're not following our laws. In essence, this is saying that it is the will of the Most High that there are hundreds of different religions in the world and that they are all acceptable in His sight. We know that the elite want a one-world religion, that modern Tower of Babel, but to see the most important clerics from both Catholicism and Islam make such a dramatic push for it is absolutely stunning. So point blank period, the powers that are behind the scenes are getting closer and closer to trying to fully implement that one world government. That's why you're seeing articles like this come out with all these different religious leaders trying to come together, as well as articles continually coming out on the mark of the beast, which is that microchip implant, because we know that when they push for that to make it mandatory, that's going to be the end game. Now I'm going to close it out with Genesis 11 verse 6 through 9 to show that this their grand work, this new world order, is going to fail, just like the Tower of Babel failed in the past, because all nations of people aren't meant to live together. They're supposed to be separate, with the nation of Israel being above them and ruling over them. And Yahweh said, behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. One religion, one government, one language, one currency. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So Yahweh scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because Yahweh did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did Yahweh scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. So with this video, I hope you sincere Akim out there were edified. Just keep pushing this word and don't be swayed by any other doctrine out there. And as always, I'm going to say Abba Babal, Kwam Yasharala. Till next time, Shalom.